evening, everybody, and welcome to Talking Hoops. It's your girl, Coach Johnson. Joining me, you have the lovely Coach Mac, and of course, Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Ron Briscoe.
Hey
Welcome.
everybody.
We are excited to be coming back. I know we took a little 2 week hiatus, but we are back with some great topics to discuss. I mean, the basketball world has just been going crazy lately from college to NBA to G League. I mean, just so much has happened, so many things to dive into. But as you guys like to know, I always like to start the show off with something maybe not so controversial, but a little disappointing this year that the Golden State Warriors didn't make the playoff cut.
Mm, mm, mm.
Now, there are a few things that probably lead to the reason as to why, but it seems like it was a bit of turmoil and team drama that happened this season that we've seen more than any other season before. Closing out the season, Steve Kerr made some comments about, they can't ride the back of Steph Curry any longer. But I'm really curious to see how much of a negative impact did it have keeping Klay Thompson on the roster throughout the whole season? And then two, Ron's boy, Draymond Green, I mean, he can't help himself when it comes to making, just getting in trouble. Really, I mean, getting in trouble is the best way I could describe it. But what are you guys' thoughts on the Warriors, and also noting that this is Chris Paul's first time not being in the playoffs in 16 seasons?
Wow.
What are your
Pretty
thoughts,
lengthy.
Coach Mack?
Well, honestly, I'm really not surprised to see that they didn't make it, considering of all the drama they've been going through since the very beginning with Draymond, with Clay, then the team chemistry, then you had the injuries. Like it was just it's one of those things where it seems like they have overstayed their welcome. So now
Mhm.
it's time to go. It's time for a change. It's time to bring in something new, something fresh. Um, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure Steph is feeling some type of way too, as we all saw in the previous game where he was just extremely frustrated. And that frustration could have been, from Draymond's reaction, could have just been from the game itself. It could have just been from anything. It could have been just a buildup of the whole season. It just happened then. So, but I'm really not surprised to see that they didn't make it. I hate that they didn't because I do like that team, but it's definitely time for a change for Golden State.
Yeah, it is a time for a change for Golden State, especially with the Power Ranger. You know, hopefully they'll find somebody to fill his spot on the team. They know what the problem is. They
Mhm.
know what are not playing right, and they know they need to fix it. Steve Kerr knows what the problem is. Dunleavy knows what the problem is. So it's just a matter of time before they're going to make that change. And I think it's going to surprise everybody in the future if they tug on Superman's cape and get him out of there and say, hey, we know that we need some new blood in here. We know that we need to mix it up a little bit because our fans are not used to not being in the playoffs or seeing us play in the playoffs this time of year. So something's going to be done about what the Power Ranger is doing, and they're gonna make Steph Curry really really happy
Yeah.
when it's all said and done.
One question I've been pondering on for a while is where would Draymond really fit? Like I can
Mm.
see Clay, fitting in on a couple of teams, but where would Draymond really fit? His character, his style of play, like he's been with Golden State so long and he's fit this particular role. Well, like what other role could he play on a different team would be has been my question. So I don't know. I'm still pondering on that one.
No, that's a great question, Coach Mack. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's space for him in NBA Siberia. Um, I'm sure there are teams, especially that have a young core that would maybe. I think, there's two sides of Draymond, right?
Mhm.
You have the Power Ranger side who seems to lack self control when it comes to, you know, these unruly acts on the court that have nothing to do with basketball. And then you have this side that's a champion that has leadership ability, that has seasoned experience playing with some of the best players that we've seen, right? So, and playing against that some of the best players that the league has seen. So, it's really hard to want to bring him into a space with a team full of young guys, but how
Mhm.
would he really fit into a team that's already established and has their leadership kind of established? So, it is very interesting to see. I mean, will Draymond stay in the league? Is really the next question. I mean, if he's not with Golden State, will he stay in the league? I do have a question for the two of you on, now that the season is over and we look back, would you say getting rid of Jordan Poole and picking up Chris Paul, was it a bump it or dump it? You know,
Mm.
because they complain about not having, riding on Steph Curry's back. I feel like Jordan Poole had the ability to
He
play
did.
within that system, play that style of basketball. He was young, okay? He made some ridiculous, I mean, just took some ridiculous shots, made some ridiculous decisions, but what young player hasn't, right? But I
Mhm.
think when we look at it from a broader scale, he definitely had the potential to be the next, and I won't even say next Curry because he was really his own player as Jordan Poole, but that style of play in that system. So
Mhm.
looking back on the season, what do you guys think about them getting rid of him now when you look back and they make comments like, we can't ride on Steph, we need new young bodies, and so forth?
I think it's a dump. I think they made a mistake by getting rid of Pooh and putting CP3 in there. Nothing against my boy Chris Paul, but he just can't do what he used to do, and he knows that. And then he gets injured, and he never comes back.
Hmm.
And that was a mistake. They should have kept Pooh. They should have let Chris Paul stay in Phoenix, but they knew that Chris was going to complain because of Bradley Beal coming over there. But look what happened to Bradley. He didn't even really play. I don't even think 50% of the season this year
Mhm.
because of his injury. So it probably would have worked out better for Chris just to stay in Phoenix and play there. But he'll be gone in the next year or two. He'll be out the door, and that's why they should have kept Poole.
Mm. So I wanna actually tie these two teams in a sense. We with Golden State and Phoenix. So I definitely think they should have kept Jordan Poole, considering his style of play. Um, he runs the floor. He runs. He can score. He can do everything that Golden State needs as far as their speed. Chris Paul kind of slowed that down a little bit. And then
Hmm.
as you see, how things played out for him. With that being said, Ron, as you were saying that he should have stayed in Phoenix. Well, let's think about Phoenix. And I'm thinking about Isaiah Thomas at the moment as a point guard who actually can be productive, but really is not getting the minutes that he should. So it's kind of like you get these players that can do things, but yet you don't utilize them to the best of their ability. And now it becomes a wash. So it's like it's not really necessarily just the players on its own, but it's more so of the decisioning making that's made from the higher up that's really not making it helpful for these teams to be productive. As if you look at it from that perspective. So
Yeah, I look at it from that perspective as well, Coach Mack. And it's just that Chris Paul was running out of gas because of his age.
yeah.
They should have kept Pooh. Now, of course, Isaiah comes in later in the season, and then he signs, a contract for the rest of the year, which is good. But it would have been nice if he would have came in earlier during the
Mhm.
season so he could learn the system, so he could be a guy to where Phoenix is not having this tough time down in the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
because Isaiah can really play. The old lefty can get it done. But it's just amazing with the coaching that they have over there and the mentality of how he feels about the guys that he wants to play. He wants to play Kevin Durant and Devin
Mm-hmm.
Booker the whole game. He knows that's his go-to guys. You know, Bradley's. He really hasn't got anything done
Hmm.
because number one, he's out of shape, and number two, he's probably still hopping on that injury that he's that
Mm-hmm.
he,
Hmm.
that he had. So it's a situation to where the GM just didn't do the right thing, and the guy who's a player personnel didn't have a player already in the goal position to come in for a situation like that.
No, I completely agree. Coach Mack, you make a great point about playing players, that you have using your bench and using the depth that you have. They're there for a reason, right? And you won't know if someone can go produce until you give them an opportunity.
All right.
And that is that's kind of been an ongoing trend. And I think the Warriors maybe just waited too late, and I feel like they traded off some good players this season that maybe they could have kept some younger players that, maybe would have helped their overall record this season. But speaking of which, of great players and opportunity, I did want to touch on the USA Olympic team,
Mm-hmm.
which, they are calling this the Super Ranger team. We are sending over, our Avenger squad. But Kyrie Irving made a great
Ooh.
point, and I have to bring this up because I kind of agreed with Kyrie
Mm-hmm.
about he misses the days when players used to have to go fight for their spot and earn a spot on the roster. And Ron, I know you have assisted with recruiting with the USA Olympic team, and you've had your hand in that. And I definitely wanted to get your perspective about kind of how things were when you were a part of that versus how it is now, and how guys are just being selected. There's no fighting for a spot because, I look at this team. This is going to be probably the last go round for your Steph Curry, your Kevin Durant, your LeBron James. I mean, you have some players on there that this is probably their last big USA Olympic game that they'll go play. And you have some of those guys on the roster, and no offense to Tyrese Halliburton,
Mm-hmm.
I really like him as a player, but he's on there and Kyrie Irving is not. I
Mm.
mean, guys didn't go. I mean, there's a lot of guys that didn't make that roster that I was like, they're not on here. Did they not have training camp? Did they not have tryouts? And so when Kyrie comes out and confirms, no, guys are just selected and they just get to go play. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, let me say this. Let me correct you about one thing about the U.S. Olympic team. I never was on the selection committee for the U.S. Olympic team. I was on the selection committee for the USA basketball youth team,
Got
which
it.
is with the Nike Hoop Summit, which is a USA team on the youth side, and the USA guys that played any youth basketball. That's the side of the calendar, the situation, the category I was under, as far as selecting guys for USA basketball. But yeah, I agree with Irvin. You need to get out there and you need to fight for your spot like they used to do back in the day, because just giving it to somebody, I mean, it's going to cause a lot of controversy. When you get out there and you earn your worth, it makes a difference. Uh, for the guys on the team, the guys will always respect you for saying, "Hey, you went out there, and you earned it. Nobody gave it to you." So even though you've been nominated to be part of the team, you still have to go out there and play against the guys and have a weed not system to where they can pick, like, this guy's good, but of course this guy's better. So yeah, I'm all in it for Kyrie saying what he said. You need to go in and earn your worth, like going to work every day and doing your job and mastering your craft.
Yeah, my boy Kyrie. I that I could not understand the concept, like how Kyrie, out of all players, did not make it. And like you said, I agree with Kyrie on that too, because just being selected, it just makes me think about the All Star game all over. Will this be a very competitive team, or is this just gonna be another team? And, trying out for the team just feels like it gives you that sense of pride that you would have more so than just being selected.
Mm.
I hope they don't go in that way. I don't think they would go in that way. But then again, when I think about the NBA All Star game, it's like, what is this? So I hope that the performance would be a whole lot better. I would imagine that it would, since they are representing our country. And I just really pray that they would take a lot more pride in the Olympic Games than they did the All Star game. I just really don't want to see a repeat of that at all. But
I and I really hope not, because I mean competition across the waters, as we would say, have
yeah,
improved drastically.
yes,
And we saw that during what was it, last year, or was that earlier this year, when they went and played in those games,
I think it was
and
earlier this year.
US lost,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and nobody was expecting that. But I think, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised, but competition is spreading out a little bit more. You're seeing these other countries starting to catch up talent wise. I
Hmm.
mean, look at some of the star players in the NBA right now.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of them aren't even from here. So you definitely have to take that into account. And just for our listeners who aren't sure who is on the roster, I do have the Olympic roster pulled up right here. And of course, we got my boy LeBron James. You got Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Booker, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Bam Adebayo. So, I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a good team, right? I mean, that's still a pretty good lineup when we're looking at skill wise and who's been performing in the NBA. But I definitely think it takes away from a sense of that competitive nature. When I watched the US Olympic game, when with Kobe Bryant, and when all LeBron James and D Wade, when all those guys, that's special. I mean, when I watched that, by the end of it, I was ready to go play. I was ready to go play the championship game. I mean, it just, the competition that was there, the way that they had to fight for their spot, and how
Mm-hmm.
they talk about how competitive practice was when they had to fight. And they said Kobe, of course, Kobe is waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing sit-ups and push-ups, and he's at the gym. Meanwhile, Carmelo Anthony and crew are coming in from partying and being out, and they seen Kobe, and they was like, "Hold on, we need to get in the gym like that too." So, just that level of competitiveness, I really hope that this team is able to produce that same level of competition, right? That it's that level of competition comes out. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed that Kyrie Irving didn't make that
Mm.
lineup. I'm really disappointed in that, but interested to see what they do. And just to touch on it while we are still on NBA, and then we do have some jumping to do to get into the good old NCAA, but playoff time. We got the playoffs. And so, as you guys know, I'm biased. I'm a Laker girl. That shot by Jamal Murray really broke my spirit. It did. I mean, it was a great shot. And when he shot it, I said, "Oh, that's good." And as soon as the shot went in, you guys, I turned the TV off immediately.
Oh, come on,
I
girl.
didn't want to see the celebration. I didn't want to see the gym go crazy. I didn't bother to see if they were going to review it. I knew it was good. I said when the shot went up, I watched. I said, "Ah, okay." I just cut the TV. I said, "I'm going to bed," because that one hurt. But to lose a 20-point lead, I mean, my gosh, I understand LeBron and his comments about the refereeing. However, officiating doesn't lose a 20-point lead.
Mm-mm.
That
True.
has that has nothing to do with officiating. Officiating isn't the reason why you guys stopped going to AD in the second half.
Mm.
That has nothing to do with it. And just a an applause to Denver, right? And it just goes to show why Denver is in the position that they're in. They never stop. They constantly keep going, and they never quit and they keep going. And that's really what won them that game. But I wanted to get you all's predictions for some of our playoff lineups. So since we're on the Lakers, we can go ahead and start with the Lakers. We can go
We'll let you
ahead.
start we'll let you start it off, coach.
Do you want to start that one off?
Now,
Start it
Ron,
off. Come on. You a big Laker fan.
I am. I am, Ron. And my heart wants to say Lakers in six. That's what my heart wants to say.
Oh, well,
You know,
they ain't gonna win it in six because they down 2-0.
I know, Ron. I know it's already. I already done missed that boat. I done missed that boat. So I mean, as much as I would love for the Lakers to win, I think the supporting cast for LeBron is, I don't know if it's strong enough to beat Denver. I mean, LeBron, yes, LeBron is, first of all, the expectations that people have for a 39-year-old player who has been playing in the league for over 20 seasons is
Goodness.
crazy.
It's
Okay, let's just
impressive.
say
It's
that
impressive.
the expectations that they have set for him have never been set for any player of his age ever. So it is bothersome to me that he is still heavily relied on to win games. While yes, LeBron should be a player that has a huge impact on the game, he shouldn't be, like, the game should not live and die on his shoulders anymore at this point.
Hmm.
And that is a fault of the Lakers. I guess it's recruiting or development. I don't know what it boils down to, but we shouldn't be living and dying on LeBron's shoulders. That is just not in year 21. Not in year 21. If LeBron has 30, 10, and 10, that's great. That's awesome. But if LeBron doesn't perform, there we don't win.
Mm.
And even if he does perform, if the supporting cast isn't good enough, it's still not enough. I mean, it's just eh, I, I'm gonna have to. I want to say Lakers, but I will say this: I'll have to wait till after the next game.
We
If
know
Oh
I
you
see
man.
that,
biased.
I know
We know you biased, girl.
I'm biased. I can say it, Ron. I'm biased. I can say
But it's gonna be Denver. You know that.
it.
Her
You just
heart
don't
won't let
want
us
to.
say no.
Yeah, our heart won't let her lot, and the reality just won't come into vision. You know
Break
it's
my
Denver.
heart slowly.
Well, sometimes that's the way it happens.
Okay, so you both have Denver for that matchup.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then Thunder and Pelicans right now OKC
Ooh.
leads 1-0.
Well, it's early. It's early. It's just only one game. They could tie it up, but it was down to the wire. I watched that game, with my heart on my sleeve, and of course, the Pelicans should have won it, but Zion, I don't know if they can do it without him.
Yeah.
So, so,
Yeah.
so right now, uh, in SGA is just a monster. You just can't stop him. He's just unstoppable. I'm a I'm gonna have to go with Oklahoma.
Okay.
I'm going OKC on this one too.
Yeah, me too. I think Zion is a huge hit. It's a huge loss,
Yes.
and it's unfortunate because he was really starting to play some good basketball. You
Yes.
Yes,
know,
he
like Ron
was.
said, I think he finally had stopped eating the table. So and he was doing good. He looked like he was in shape. He was getting
He
some good
was.
numbers, and so that is a huge loss. Now, an interesting matchup that I think we'll see maybe even possibly go to a game 6, game 7 is Clippers and Mavericks.
Oh God.
Ooh, this is really good games.
They're
I
tied
mean,
right now at 1-1.
that's right.
Yeah, they are. I just need the Mavs to keep pushing because
Okay.
we are known to fall off in that first round. I
Who
just
you
need us
got
to
though?
keep pushing. Ooh,
She knows she's gonna pick the Mavs. Quit
I know,
playing,
I
girl.
know.
I
Come on,
I
Coach Mac.
want to pick the Mavs. I really do. But do I think we can sustain? I don't think so. I don't
I I
think
I, I
so.
pick I'm picking the Mavs. You know why?
Mm,
Because
Leonard
Luca.
is out. Leonard is
Oh yeah,
out,
yeah, yeah.
and I don't think he'll be back. And I think that's a big problems for the Clippers is Leonard being out. And I just don't think they can just get it done. I think James Harden is gonna just kind of like he looked good now. Don't get me
mm-hmm,
wrong, but I
mm-hmm.
just don't think that he's gonna keep it up. Paul George, I don't think he's gonna be able to keep it up, even though I want him to. And with Leonard not being in the chemistry of their game and of that team, I don't think that they're going to get it done. I picked the Mavs because I think Irvin's going to go off. And is it who's the big guy for Dallas? The guy in the
The
middle.
post the yeah, I'm trying to think of his name. He's new. Um, Not Lively, but what's the other guy? It'll come to
Well,
me in a minute. But I
whoever
know who
it
you're
is,
talking about.
he. I think those two are going to take over. Just wait and see. It's 1-1, but they're going to take over. And I'm picking Dallas.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Clippers. And I'm only going to go with the
California girl
Clippers.
bias again. Golly. She got the Clippers, Golden State, and the Lakers.
Don't forget Sacramento. But I
You
am,
ain't got Sacramento, they ain't even.
yeah, I know. But I think really the only reason why, and this is a trend of the Mavs, and the problem
Mhm.
that they've had all season is when it comes to defense. Like,
Mhm.
if they're unable to outscore you, it's a problem. It's a problem. And they struggle.
Yep.
And I mean, while I think that they have a phenomenal scoring ability as a team, how long is that going to last when defense wins championships? So I think that'll be a concern for them, and also I don't want to knock the ability of Paul George and James Harden to be able to come together to get it done.
Mhm.
I mean, when we look at them as individuals on their previous teams that they've played with and they weren't able to get it done. I mean, James Harden is notorious for freezing up in the big moment. I mean, he
Mhm.
has an NBA record for freezing up in the big moment. So I think that together and with some experience, the experience that they have, as well as Russell Westbrook, I mean, I think you combine the three of that. I think they have a strong possibility
Mhm.
of taking it over. But I do think it's going to come down to the wire between those two teams. I definitely see that one. Now, an interesting one is the Timberwolves and the Suns. Is this going to be a sweep?
I think so.
Probably.
Ooh.
I got the
Probably.
Mm.
Timberwolves.
Get the broom out. Okay. Ooh, zip them up, Coach Mac. Oh, okay. We looking
Yep.
at a sweep. Okay. I mean, Anthony Edwards is no joke.
No, he's
Man,
no. But
I'm
also,
loving his performance.
He's a rising to the occasion, and I love that for him. I think Anthony Edwards definitely has the potential to be a big face for the NBA in the coming years. We've hit the Nuggets and the Lakers. Now to go on to the East, we
Mm-mm-mm.
have Celtics and the Heat, Boston leads right now. Boston is playing right now. I I'm gonna go with the Celtics only because Jimmy buckets.
That's right.
Jimmy
He's out.
buckets being hurt is a huge loss for the Heat,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that the Heat have enough weapons to combat the Celtics.
No, the leader is down. Jimmy Bucket.
And shout out to Drew Holiday, who has a big contract on the way, and it looks like they want to keep him at the Celtics. So uh, he turned a tough situation into a great one for himself. So happy to see that for Drew Holiday, looking like he'll be staying in Boston for the seasons to come. We have the Cavs and the Magic, and right now Cleveland is 2-0.
Mm.
Who y'all
It's going to be
got?
Cleveland. It's going to Cleveland's
Yeah.
going to win this one.
I'm going with Cleveland on this one.
Yeah, yeah, I have to go with Cleveland as well too. They call him Donnie Bravo. I think he's too much. I think he's too much for the Magic right now. I think he's too much for what
Donovan
they have.
Mitchell.
Donovan
Yes.
Mitchell, aka Donnie Bravo. I mean, he's a problem. He is a
He's a
problem.
problem. He really is.
We have the Bucks and the Pacers tied at 1-1.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
It
Mm,
is. And Dane.
Yeah, Dane ain't been doing too well. And you know what,
Dane.
you guys, we talked about Doc Rivers in the Bucks team earlier,
mm-hmm.
and just think they fired their coach. Doc Rivers takes over, and he gets that team into the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
which is amazing. But with Giannis being out now,
Hmm.
it's kind of setting a problem for the Bucks. So if Giannis doesn't come back, I gotta take Halliburton and those Pacers.
Mm,
Yep.
mm.
Yep.
They got the other Antetokounmpo on the bench. He
Mm-mm.
could.
Mm-mm. He
He's
got
gonna
a
come.
cheer.
He's
We
gonna
need
come
his
clean
support.
your house. That's what he's gonna do.
We need his support. That's what we need from him.
And did you hear about that? Giannis was going to sign a deal with Nike, and the
Yeah.
only reason he's signing a deal with Nike is because Adidas didn't want his brother to be part of a deal, having his own deal with Adidas. And Nike said, "Yeah, we'll give your brother a deal." He said, "Well, I'm signing with you guys."
I mean, my brother's keeper, they really ride that out until the wheels fall off. But when you hear the story behind it, I do understand it. I mean, I remember Giannis made a comment and said that his brother gave him his shoes. They shared shoes with him so that he
Mhm.
would be able to play when they were growing up. So, shout out to Giannis for looking out for his brother when he made it. And hey, I'm sure that's what we'll see with LeBron James and Bronny, So I don't want to hear it from people about LeBron James and Bronny. Okay.
You know
They
what?
could give you paying LeBron 180 million. You can give Bronny 1 million, and it's basically like paying LeBron 181 million. I mean, it's not gonna
You know what
it,
they say? Blood is thicker than water.
yeah, exactly. It's not gonna hurt nobody. So
Just a little
Uh,
meal.
hey, just a little meal. That's all. I mean, he already is making that with NIL deals anyway.
That's true.
So, I mean, what is 1 meal gonna do, Coach Matt?
Why not?
Why not?
Make
And
it,
then,
look, one meal's gonna make him cheaper because he's making about five.
yeah. Exactly, Ron. And the last team that we have before we jump to NCAA is the Knicks and the Sixers. And
Told y'all.
the Knicks up 2-0. Coach Matt, you did.
I
You
told
did.
y'all. Several
What did
months
you say?
ago.
What did you tell us, man? I don't remember. Refresh my
How
mind.
Yeah, so this was what month is this now? This is April. So what December ish,
Ooh,
somewhere
Ish,
around there.
I
January-ish.
know
Yep,
I need
January ish.
a refresh.
I was talking about how interesting the Knicks are at that moment. I said I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the playoffs. I didn't say they was gonna win, but I said I wouldn't be surprised if they made it. And sure enough, they're here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bronson and the gang. I know my boy Julius Randle is hurt. He's not playing, but they still holding that up over there.
they
Man.
are. They are. And, interesting how, Philadelphia, they were doing really well at the start of the season. And just injuries,
Yes,
injuries
yes,
changed the whole course of a season,
sure did.
and that is unfortunate what happened with them. But question is, do you guys predict a sweep?
Ooh,
It's a
Is it going to be a
possibility.
sweep?
It's the possibility.
I'll go with the possibility too.
It's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah, definitely. I could see the up 2-0. I mean, it definitely is likely. But speaking of big millions and money and Nike, Caitlin
Ooh,
Clark with the
Yes,
ultimate deal for a women's basketball player. Not only that, but a rookie WNBA basketball player coming into the league. $28 million dollars with Nike. Wow. Impressive.
mind
impressive.
blowing. And who
Ye-
would think to see that for women's basketball at this moment?
I don't, I don't think people predicted that it was this much revenue coming in off of women's basketball, but the
Hmm.
women's basketball team at Iowa generated $82.5 million
That's right.
dollars
Right.
for the university and the economy.
Hmm. But let's think about the effects that this is having, not just for Iowa, not just for Caitlin, but just for women's basketball in general.
Hmm.
You're starting to see the venue changes. They're having to go to different venues for more
Right.
seating, building, bigger arenas for the WNBA. I'm super excited about the Wings being moved to downtown. For one, it's a lot a lot closer to me, but also it's more seating. So we're talking about really, really building up the revenue for women's basketball, and just only a matter of, it's probably going to happen. I would say less than 2 years for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's just amazing to see the effect overall that has happened in just a short period of time in women's basketball.
Oh, absolutely. And go ahead, Ron. Real, you look like you was gonna say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, this is a phenomenal thing that's happening. Uh, the bean counters are looking at this because they can see. Just stop and think. Ice Cube said, "I want you for $5 million." Okay, he saw it. He offered five. Okay, just for 10 games. So right then
Hmm.
and there, the guys out there that can kind of see kind of down the road, see the future, kind of say like, okay, well they done sold out. They had 14 million people to watch him during the NCAA tournament. Coach Mac, you just got through saying that they're going to have to change venues. You got the Indiana Fever, all the tickets are sold out.
Yep.
You got all the Caitlin Clark's jerseys are gone. All the Nike shoes for girls are going to be gone because they want to be like Caitlin Clark. It is going to be phenomenal. She's going to make that 28 million for Nike in probably 2 years, and then they're going to be smelling like a rose because they're going to see the profit on top of that. This is great. I love it. The women's basketball has taken off, not only with the ladies that were drafted in the WNBA just a couple of weeks ago, but in the season that's coming up with college basketball, it's going to be phenomenal. And everybody now is talking about women's basketball and what he has to bring to the table.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the season. Honestly, that's probably the only thing I'm really waiting for. I've watched the NBA, but it's not the same. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for preseason game. And speaking of preseason or a season in general, Dallas Wings and Atlanta Dream season tickets have sold out
Yeah.
already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, that is phenomenal, and I'm so excited. I can't wait for preseason, which is May 5th or 6th, and then season's May
Yeah, it's right
15th.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, look, let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Summer basketball, fall into fall. This is gonna be amazing.
Oh,
I'm ready.
agreed.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Agreed. I would love to catch a Chicago game,
Yes.
since I mean I'm 4 hours from Indiana, 4 hours from Chicago, but it looked like
Oh,
Indiana is not
stop.
happening. Them tickets gone.
Yeah.
Take your
So
husband to
Been
Chicago and
gone.
watch Angel Reese and Kamala play.
Oh,
yeah,
can't
yeah,
wait to watch that.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think I'm just really loving the attention and the support like you guys all
Mhm.
said. I mean, it's a huge deal, and it's a huge deal for the youth.
Yes.
I feel like when I watch youth basketball, it's not the same anymore. But I hope that this movement pushes that desire for the youth to want to get back out there, to want to go play, that level of
Mhm.
competition, the competitiveness, and just you know that culture again that's kind of died down a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to that. But big money being made. It's big money out there circulating for the women, and I'm just so excited to hear about it. It'll be interesting to see what the progression forward looks like as, when they start getting, I mean, 90% of the Fevers games are going to be nationally televised. So
Oh
I
yeah.
wonder what kind of deals are they going to make with the TV, with that TV money, like the NBA
Mhm.
gets. NBA
Mhm.
players, they get a portion of that. They're getting some of that money. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates into higher pay for the women's.
A new deal is coming up next year for the women's. So get ready. A new deal is coming up for TV revenue. So they're going to be getting it real, real soon. The things are going to change real soon with women's basketball. The pay rates is going to go up. Everything's going to go up.
Good, good, because they're definitely in need of that. Um, Speaking of which, I definitely wanted to. I came across a comment. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you all have gotten the chance to read this. I'm sure, but wanted to get you guys' thoughts on one, Haley Van Lith transferring, and two, the comments that Kim Mulkey made about her entering the transfer portal. Kim Mulkey made a statement saying they asked her basically, how does she feel about Haley entering into the portal? And, she says basically she wishes her well for a player who has another year and says, hey, I need another year and I need to get back to playing in my true spot, which, as we know, is a shooting guard. And
Right.
this past season, she played point for LSU, played out of position essentially the entire season. What are you guys' thoughts on Kim Mulkey making that comment? I guess acknowledging that she was in fact playing her out of her true position.
Well, I
Oh,
think
wow. Go ahead.
I, I think that Kim Markey, she knew that the girl couldn't be a point guard. She just wanted to see if she could kind of transform her into becoming a point guard. And Haley just, couldn't do it. She just could not do it. She's a shooting guard all the way. She did it the whole time she was at Louisville. And I just think that Van Lift has got enough of Kim Markey trying to make her become a point when she wasn't, when she had a couple of really good players that were really good point guards. The Jackson girl, she was definitely a point guard. But I don't know
Mhm.
why Kim didn't want her to play the point position. I don't think that Kim used Haley in a way where she made her successful.
Hmm.
And that's what coaches need to do. When you have a player on your team, you want to put them in a successful position to be somebody who can do something right on your team. And she struggled all year with LSU.
Mhm.
Her scoring went down, her confidence went down, and I'll tell you, the camel that broke the straw's back is when she
Ooh.
played in that game against
Yes, indeed.
Caitlin Clark. And
Yes.
Kim knew that she couldn't guard Caitlin. And that just kind of say, like, I'm out the door. Kim, you making me look like a fool out here, not putting me in a good position. And I'm playing against Caitlin Clark, and you know I can't guard her. And you know you got a girl over there who can guard her. She's bigger, taller, stronger than me. And I don't know why you did this to embarrass me out here on the court. So, and another thing, she hasn't officially transferred to a school yet. I know the word is out that she transferred to TCU, and I know I had said that, but it came out today that she said that she hasn't officially transferred to TCU because she went to Mississippi State
Hmm.
Mhm.
last week for a visit.
So, I'm irritated by it. Simply because what Kim did, is a common thing that happens in basketball
Mm,
in general.
mm.
You have too many coaches put these kids out of position, force them to play in a position where they can't be productive, but then just expecting them to be or perform this miracle. But that's not who they are. As a coach, it is your job to put that player in the best position possible to where they can be productive and perform to help the team. Period. Like it's that simple. There's no type of, calculation behind it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. And I hate that Haley had to waste a year in that particular position where she couldn't be herself. And I'm glad
Mm.
that she actually recognized it and didn't try to force it, didn't try to just like, okay, well, let me add this to my game. She's staying true to herself, knowing what it is that she does best. I definitely wish her well and hope that she finds that spot where she can be productive and be who she is because she does have a lot of potential, a lot of potential. Now, she probably can't guard Kaylin, but
No, that was a we watched a live crime that
I
day.
mean, how long are you just gonna let this girl just keep getting stabbed? Because that's basically what was happening. She was
Whew.
just dagging her
Mm.
from every angle. And I'm like, man, this is brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got Flage that could have done a whole lot. And that's another thing I didn't understand about Kim. Why Flage didn't get more minutes than what she did this season. But that's neither here nor there. But she could at least let Flage guarded her.
absolutely.
So I don't know. But I definitely wish her well. I hope she finds a good home to where she can have a really, really good another senior season and just do well because I do see her being hopefully in the WNBA to where she can, you
Oh,
know, come back.
her
But
stock dropped
yeah,
a
it
lot.
did. It
Her
did
stock
drop heavy.
dropped. I mean,
It
she
did.
knew she couldn't even get a blow in the NBA this year.
Oh,
Like, oh
goodness.
man, I just messed my NBA stock up in this one game. If I'm going to be playing Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, look.
Yeah.
Kaylin looked like she's out there playing with her eyes closed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on two sides of the coin.
Okay.
And simply because I have been played out of position, my freshman year, we lost our point guard. Our coach didn't want to use our backup point guard as the starting point guard, and so he moved me over. And as a freshman, I had to play our starting point, even though that was not the position that I came to play. That was not the position that I normally play. Um, and so, but I remember my coach telling me that a difference between a good basketball player and a great basketball player is that you can make the changes and still be effective from anywhere, no matter where a
Hmm.
coach puts you. Don't be one dimensional. And I think, for Haley, the question now that you have to wonder is she only a shooter?
Yes.
Because we can't say a defender, and
No.
it's hard to say point guard. So, what does that look like as you want to start getting to those next levels where you now have a lot of players that are multidimensional? They can guard,
Hmm.
they can play, they can score, they can handle the ball, they can shoot, they can get it on the rim. I mean, so it becomes tough of, well, how are you going to fight for a spot when you're going up against players like this at that next level? In college it may be okay where it works in college. But we're seeing now, a lot of these girls at that next level, especially in the WNBA, that are very multidimensional. I mean, even when I look at somebody like Asia Wilson, she can shoot it, she can put it on the floor, she can get under the basket, she can pass. I mean, it's like, but she's one of many players that now have different functions of their game. So I do think that there's two sides to that, but also I do have to agree that when you know your personnel and you know the players
Hmm.
you have to put them in the best situation to win.
Yes.
Of
You
course.
wanted Haley to come to LSU, and I couldn't imagine that you sold her on the pretenses of, hey, you're going to come be point, knowing that she was not a point guard. So I do think it's also, on Kim as well to You have to put your players in the best possible position for them to be successful, not only for them as a player, but for your team.
Hmm.
If
So
Haley is a shooter and she's not able to get any run off any screens to get some good looks and get some shots off, what was the point?
yeah.
Mhm.
So to speak to what you were saying, like I understand what you were saying as far as being more than just one position. In your position, your situation, you were a freshman. You have room to grow. She ain't got room. Okay, so we got to stick to what she know. You got to
Yeah.
stick to the basics.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
this is what you this is what you got to do. Period. Point blank. Now, some players can be, multidimensional, play different positions, but everybody can't. As
Hmm.
you stated, the key thing that you said, know your personnel. That's a huge basketball phrase. Offense and defense. Passing the ball to somebody. Know your personnel. In Kim's position, she shouldn't have put Haley in that particular position because
Hmm.
first off, of the year that she is, she has not trained for this. Now I can understand, if injuries were to occur and you had nobody else, that's different. But in this situation, she actually had somebody else, but she just chose to do differently. And
that's
that
right.
wasn't a good coaching decision for the team because it actually ended up hurting them more than helping them. So again, like I said, if you were a freshman, I can understand that. You have room to grow. You can do that. Haley, she couldn't afford that. Kim couldn't afford that. So that wasn't a good decision on her behalf to do for the team.
Agreed. Agreed.
And
And it
wasn't Haley
caused
an
her
All
stock.
American? Was Haley an All American one year?
Hmm.
I don't even remember.
I'd have to look that up.
I can't remember what she was at Louisville. I
Now,
don't.
now Coach,
I mean,
Coach,
not before then.
Coach Johnson, you was like what, the Player of the Year in your conference one year, or the Freshman of the Year, or something like that?
At my school, yes, I got freshman of the year at my school, but I did make the all freshman team my freshman year, and then um, finished as the all time leading scorer
Right, you was
at
all
the
time
school.
leading scorer. Right.
Yeah. So, but for Haley, unfortunately, that did plummet her stock. It
Mm,
did, and that last game, I mean, it just took. It was like it was the I mean, it was just the final straw, right, for her stock. I mean, that last game against Caitlin Clark just that did it for her,
mm,
unfortunately. So I am curious to see where she'll end up and where she'll go. She has, I'm sure, a multitude of options of schools that would be more than happy to have her come join and bring her skills and talent over there. So definitely wishing her well. Now, before we end up wrapping up, we have a few minutes left. I wanted to go ahead and give Coach Max some time to talk about her G League babies
my G
and what's the
babies.
happening. As I know, we finished the season off with the G
Yes,
League. Yes.
Yep.
yes. We finished the season off, and OKC actually won the championship. Who got MVP was Mac McClung. Surprisingly, well, I'm not surprised, but the fact that he got it and he's still not in the league, that's what I'm surprised about. But
Mm.
I don't know what to say about that part. But one of the things that I did find interesting, I pulled some stats up today that I saw about the percentage of players that are on the playoff rosters that had G League experience, which is
Mm.
56%. So
Mm.
56% of players are in the playoffs that played in the G League.
Wow.
That's heavy. That's a lot. And that's impressive. And you have 5 head coaches that had G League experience and 6 of the NBA award finalists. Rudy Gobert is one of them that played in the G League.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see G League doing what it's doing. Hopefully they will have a pay increase because as you know theirs is way worse than, well, I'll probably say it's probably about equivalent for the most part to WNBA. But still consider how long they've been around too. It's horrible for their salary. And then another thing was there were like 19 first round picks from the 2023 NBA draft that played in the G League. That's a lot of
Mm,
picks.
that is.
Yes, a lot of picks. So G League is doing good. G League is doing great. G League is growing. Um, other than that, they're already trying to sell season tickets for the next season now. So check out your nearest G League
Yeah,
and get those season tickets because they are on sale now.
yeah.
Look
No,
at this
that's a
promo coming up.
yeah. I know they owe you some money for that, Coach Mac.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
give
it's
us a
represented.
sponsor, Coach Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take either or. Not asking for much.
Yes, yes. No, that is really great to hear. And again, just the development and all the positives that's surrounding the growth of basketball right now. It just feels so good. I feel like
Yes,
the perspective of G League has definitely changed.
yes,
I would say
Yes.
just even compared to 10 years ago,
yes.
the perspective is now viewing it as a way to develop players and
Hmm.
also grow players. And hey, if you're not performing, listen, Ron, your spot, somebody could be after your spot, Ron.
They can
Go
Hmm.
have
ahead
it.
and go on down to the G League so you can go figure it out. we
No,
gonna
I'm not going
bring
to G League. I'm
we
done.
gonna
I'm
bring
done.
Coach Mac up. We're gonna give Coach Mac a 10-day. And if you can't show us nothing in 10 days, hey, Coach Mac's her contract might get an extension. You
Hey,
know,
I'm done. She can have my spot. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to both of you.
yeah, so it's really good to see. It's good to see that they're utilizing it, and I hope it brings another level of competitiveness back to the NBA.
Yes.
That
You saw how
hey,
the Grizzlies were this year,
yes,
and their whole
yes,
team is basically G League.
yes. It just says don't get too comfortable. That's the biggest thing. Don't ever get too comfortable because it's somebody that's better, stronger, faster, and that wants it more than you out there looking and just waiting for an opportunity.
Yes.
Always. Always.
Always. And so, before we go, as we are nearing the end, I just wanted to circle back and ask just to see. I know it's still early in the playoffs and we'll still have our show next week to talk about it. But from right now, based on what we have right now with the current games where we're at, I want to know who do
Ooh.
you have in the championship game right now?
I know Boston is one on my list. I think they're going. Boston is the team I'm going to pick to win it all. As a matter
Mm,
of fact.
okay.
And oh, let's see, on that west side, I'm gonna say Denver's gonna beat the two teams gonna play Boston and Denver.
That's a good
Mm,
pick.
But
Yeah,
I
mm.
yeah.
got Boston. I got Boston winning it all though. Denver's going down this year.
You think so, Ron?
That's just my prediction.
And just like me, Mr. Johnson is biased too, as we see he's going with Lakers in Boston.
Y'all are
Listen,
definitely a diehard Lakers fan.
hey, it's not
Lakers.
over
Did he
till
say
it's over,
Lakers?
Coach Mac. It's not over until it's over, okay?
Okay. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's just like me being a Kentucky fan. I get it. I get it.
So, Ron, let me be clear. You said you got Boston taking it all,
Yes,
and you have them matched up against
the Nuggets.
the Nuggets. Okay. Coach Mac?
I think the Nuggets are probably going to get it again this year.
Mmm.
I think they will.
Mmm. Okay. And so you don't think the East Coast might steal them one this year, huh?
Uh, I'll have to agree with Ron on the Boston Celtics. If anybody were to get it, it's going to be Boston.
The best
Okay.
team
But
in NBA.
but
Okay.
I'm going with Denver.
Okay. Denver. Wow. 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 I really want and yeah, like
I like
Mr.
I should
Johnson
say I
said,
really won.
I really want you guys know who I want, of course. You know
Yeah,
who I
yeah, the
want to be in
Lakers.
you know who I want to be in the Western Conference Finals? no, it's not the Clippers, it's not the Thunder, it's not none of them guys. But I mean, if the Lakers aren't able to get past it, I think a team that really might sneak, that'll be a good matchup in the next.
OKC.
Oh, and there goes Mama
Oh,
Davis right there.
there she goes.
Start the show.
The star of
And
the show is here.
no, it.
There we go. There we go. Put some respect on that lady's name.
And she said Denver.
No.
No. Okay. Well, I
Who's she
mean,
going for?
I'm not sure who she's going for.
She going for the
Maybe,
Lakers?
Oh,
probably,
y'all are
probably.
really a diehard Lakers family.
We are. We are. We go back to, I remember being a kid, and I remember when Robert Ory hit that shot
Oh yeah.
at that free throw line shot. And I remember it was during our family
Y'all
reunion.
guys need to let that go.
Let me tell you, it was during our family reunion. When I say the whole house went crazy, we were screaming in the house. And that is just like, oh man, that just an example of just how hard we go. But I really
That
have
was
to
a good shot.
say, for the next matchup, you would have, let's say the Suns get swept and let's say the Lakers don't beat the Nuggets. You'll have Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. And I'm going to say, Timberwolves might give Denver a problem. I don't see anybody that can guard Anthony Edwards right
That's
now.
true.
I don't see anybody guarding him. So, you know, I I'll say from the East Conference, when I'm looking at it, I think I'm gonna have to go with Boston. They're probably the strongest, well-rounded team. The only
Yeah.
thing that can maybe affect them would be injuries, that they could get hit with, and that could be the problem. But from the West, it's too tight. It's too
It
tight.
is.
And so I'm gonna go with to be determined for me.
Oh no, 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 no. You gotta pick a team. You talking all this noise, and then you don't
Ron,
come up. You can't do
Ron,
that. Pick a team. Pick a
you're
team.
Look at
Don't
strong.
be
that.
all this good. Pick a team.
You're
If
gonna
you lose,
strong
you
arm
lose.
me into this.
Huh?
You're gonna strong arm me into this.
No, I'm just being fair.
Okay. Well, for right now, my answer might be different next week. But right now,
Oh,
you know who I'm going with.
look, I know what we're dealing with now, Coach Mac.
Yes. So until it's over, then it's over. But until then, it's not over yet. When it say 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever, then I'll go ahead and cash the check.
Guess
Well,
what? My prediction is not until it's over either. I might change my mind too.
That's why I said this is just for right now. I say right now.
Okay, okay.
Next Wednesday, we all might have a different prediction next Wednesday. We might be saying New York and Minnesota.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It must be in the water or something down there.
Hey, they say St. Louis water different.
But you drunk a lot of California water before you got there.
I did. Hey, Ron, I drank the Kool-Aid. I
Yes, you
drank the
did.
Kool-Aid. I
Yes, you did.
did.
Yes,
So,
you
but
did.
no, I have to say, I really, aside from the Lakers and me being biased, I will say that I think Minnesota has a really strong chance. So
Towns is good. Towns is good too. Towns and Edwards are
yeah,
tough.
they have a
that guy.
really strong chance. And I think Towns and Jokic and Edwards and um, Michael Porter Jr., I think those are good matchups. I
Yeah,
don't see anybody guarding Anthony Edwards, though. I don't.
no. And
Yeah.
you know what? Minnesota may sneak in there, but man, oh, they could
They
very
could.
well. They could,
They could. And they got some young guys that can go. So
and that's a good call right there. And next week, I may be a Minnesota guy.
hey, that's why I say, hey, we just doing right now. This ain't nothing but just a little fun. We just having a little fun. That's all. That's all. But wrapping up for the night. Thank you all so much for tuning in. What a show. What a show. And if you guys are following Our predictions, just know these are preliminary, these are fun. But when we get down to the nitty gritty next week, you'll probably get some real analysis from us and some real reasons as to why we're picking teams that we are. But until then, just know I'm riding until the wheels fall off. And if they fall
Yes,
off
you
next
are.
week,
Yes, you are.
they fall off next week. But thank you all so much for tuning in on Talking Hoops on Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, where you can catch us every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, and we have one more
Set
comment from
tripping.
Mama Davis said, y'all set tripping.
Oh, Mama Davis. Not set tripping.
The show where you're gonna get the realness, laughs, and jokes. Love it. And thank you all so much for tuning in. You can watch us live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And you can also watch reruns of the show on Broad Street South Network, 102.9 The Game, Talking Hoops. It's your girl, Coach Johnson, signing out for the night. I can't hear you.